All right, that's the recording working. That's good news. Welcome again, everyone. I'm Angela Bohl. I haven't formally introduced myself yet, but I'm the CEO at IBPA. I work closely with Terry Nathan on the Benjamin Franklin Awards, but I have to say this is completely his gig and his baby. He's been working the Ben Franklin Awards for, I let him fill in the blank here, so many years now.
Most of the 33.
Most of the 33 years, definitely 20 plus years. Terry has been managing this award program for IBPA. So we're really grateful to have him. And we're in the second of two orientations for judges. We've got a number of new judges today, which is awesome, and some veterans as well. And I hope it becomes a really empowering information share for the next hour or so. Terry's going to walk us through content a little bit, maybe 25, 30 minutes, and then we're just going to open it up to you guys and whatever you want to share. So let's see what happens, Terry. I'll turn it over to you.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Thank you all for taking the time today. I know there's a million Zooms and WebExes and things we're doing, so we will try to get through this in 45 minutes, less than an hour for sure, but we're here for you. If there's anything you need, we'll be here longer if you need us. But welcome, and thank you all for judging once again. I think most of you know who I am, but my name's Terry Nathan. I've been with IBPA since 1992. I'll let you do the math. And I started with the Benjamin Franklin Awards program back then. So I've been ingrained in this program for many years, and it's exciting for me every year. Every piece of the process is. Angela introduced these orientations a few years ago, which was a genius idea. It keeps our pool of judges connected. It lets you feel like you're not out there and all alone, which you're not. And feel free to lean into me or us anytime you have questions or anything. For the new judges, this will be some new stuff you're looking at. We try to make this process as easy and understandable as possible. For the expert judges, the veterans, this is probably going to be a rehash of what we've done in past years, but it's always good to kind of tune up, remind yourselves, get ready for award season, because some of you have some rather large categories to dive into. So I'll just kick off by saying a gigantic thank you. I couldn't do this without you all. We couldn't do this without you all. Our members, the publishing community, the independent publishing community couldn't. It's a huge undertaking each year. We know that some categories are larger than others. Some of you, maybe like Shannon was saying, she only got 3 books so far, but she'll probably get another 8 or 10 or 12. But some of the categories, an average category in this first wave probably got 10, 15 books. Some of the categories got upwards of 40 or 50 books. So it is a giant undertaking. Each year, this year we've got 56 categories. There are 3 judges in each category, so that gives us a total pool of 168 judges, and we're getting books into the office here, and we're sending them out to 168 different places, and there's a lot of admin in the background happening. Last year we had about 1,700 entries. This year we're anticipating a little bit fewer, but still a big number of entries, probably in the 1,500 to 1,600 range. We talked about this a little bit already, but we've got about 10 to 15% new judges each year. Brings great energy into the program, helps us, build this pool of judges. Our pool of judges is probably about 500 strong now, or something like that, and we're fortunate enough to get enough judges where we actually have to kindly decline people's offers each year, which is a good problem to have, but I always do feel bad because we do have so many people wanting to participate. I will say one thing about some of the larger categories here. If you do have a giant category, you're welcome, or even if you don't, you're welcome to invite your professional colleagues into the process if you want, as long as you act as the person that will be doing all the scoring, so that it's consistent across all of the entries and all of the commenting too. But you're welcome to make this fun, and if you want, you could invite others into the mix. So for the newer judges, we're really gonna walk through the whole process, let you understand what we're doing, what we're up against here, and let you know that I'm here anytime if there's anything you need. I think most of you have seen I'm pretty responsive on email. You can always call. All of my emails have my phone number. I'm in the office every day. The rest of the staff is working remotely, but I'm here all the time. I'm lonely. I'm a social person. I need people to call me. No, feel free to call me anytime. This is what we're gonna look at today. Just a quick overview of the program's objectives. This awards program is a big part of what we do, what the mission of IBPA is. We'll look at that for a minute. We'll look at the different scorecards. We have different types of judges. You're sent guidelines and scorecards to help guide your judging. We try to make it as easy as possible and as objective as possible, but there will always be gray areas and questions along the way, and again, feel free to reach out. We'll look at the categories, the overall timeline. We'll talk about just some odds and ends, and then really open this thing up so that our expert panel of judges can share with our newer folks, and vice versa. So that this is a community here of judges that are helping here. So let's look at a couple of the past winners. You guys are about to make a lot of people really happy, by the way. We get 3 winners in each category, so that's quite a few people out there that are really excited about what they've done, and their hard work has paid off. So the folks in the front here, this was a couple years ago in person at our ceremony. Each year we have a ceremony. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the my favorite parts of the entire year. Last year we had to adjust on the fly, just like everybody else, because our event was scheduled for April 5th or 7th or something like that, and as we all know, COVID kind of closed everything down around mid-March. So we pulled it together, and by early May, we were partying online for a few nights in a row. And the person in the back there was one of our gold winners, and she was really excited and even had a bottle of champagne close by. So that was good. So let's look quickly at our program objectives. So one of the big missions of IBPA is to educate the independent publishing community. It's to challenge our members who are independent publishers to professionalize their work, so it can stand up on the shelves to anyone out there. And this program is a huge part of this. We provide your judging forms back to the participants so that they can learn where they're excelling and where they can improve. So we're going to see this in a minute, but part of the judging forms is to provide written feedback to our folks so they understand why they're getting the scores they're getting, and also so they can get some ideas from you all who are experts, who are professionals in this industry. They can get some ideas from you on how to improve future books. And I can tell you the program's working. Compared to the first time, the quality of entries it gets better and better each year. Here on the screen is a quote from one of our founders and my dear mother, Jan Nathan. She ran the association for many years, from the early 80s until it's probably the early 2000s. So we I'll just read this for the people that are not on screen. It says, when we first began the awards, it was both to honor the publishers who produce quality titles and to teach publishers how they can compete in the world of book publishing. And we really lean into this still to this day. We are challenging our members to get better at the business of publishing. So, and with your help, we're doing that. This is a gigantic task. We said 15 to 1,700 entries. That's, 4,500 different people or different comments that are being sent out there or more. So it's great. I'm taking a breath. Angela, are we good on the chat side of things? Awesome. Thumbs up.
We are. I'm just throwing random stuff out there, y'all. So
all right.
Maybe you're listening to my random thoughts, and maybe you're not.
And you all feel free to chat amongst yourselves, chat at me. Angela's going to kind of keep an eye over there because I'm so focused on my rambling that I'm going to just keep going here. So here we go. Here are some other really cool looking people, and they won in addition. So that again was a couple years ago. But it's really fun. I can't stress enough how the end result of this program is really so exciting. It's so enjoyable for everybody in the room. So, and our room got a lot bigger last year when we went virtual, which was great. So hopefully you guys will all be able to join us this year. Let's just take a quick look at our scorecard or our judging forms. So each book is judged by 3 independent judges. So each category, let's say you're a poetry judge, there are 2 other judges in your category. So first of all, you don't need to feel like you're all alone and going to control the outcome completely of this category. There are others that are judging as well, providing scores. We tally up the 3 different scores to get the total and to identify the winners. And in most of the categories, like the genre-specific categories like cookbooks or biographies or history, there are 2 editorials judges and 1 design judge. So first, you can see we lean into the editorial side of things more. We provide more weight to that, but the design side is quite important as well. And there's never a book that is poorly designed that makes it up to the finals because a design judge has 33% of the outcome of the thing. So point to note here is if you are an editorial judge, you really don't need to worry about the design elements. You can certainly enjoy them, comment on them a little bit, but your focus really will be editorial if that's the type of judge you are. Same thing on the design side. If you're a design judge, focus on the cover design, the interior design, and the paper stock, the quality, all of those things, and these forms will really guide you on what we're looking for here. But you don't need to worry too much about reading every word and commenting on the writing and the clarity and all of that. There are some categories that are specific to only design, interior design, cover design, or only writing, best new voice. And in those cases, then there are still 3 judges, but you're only looking at whatever the topic is, whether it's the writing or the design. For the audiobook, that's a little bit different as well. So these judging forms and guidelines will really walk you through what we're looking for when we're asking about the scores. And, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions at all. Here's just a quick look. And most of you have received your first box of books. In the box was a stack of worksheets, forms for you to get started on and start to judge the books and make your comments. And this is an idea on the design side. I was just talking that we're going to look at the cover design, the interior design. We're also going to have a couple of general questions about, things like, is the ISBN in the right place? And is there a human readable price on the cover, and is there a, the things that make a book professional and set a book above a lot of those just I don't know what we want to call the unpolished, unprofessional books. We are again challenging our members to publish professional books here. So and then you'll notice tiebreaker I've got in a different color down there. The tiebreaker is hugely important for us. We use it as a check and balance to make sure no one judge is dominating a category. And we also use it to truly break ties. We do have ties once in a while, and we need to break those. So you'll see, you'll only be asked to rank your top 10 books. So if you have 30 books in your category, you only need to rank the top 10. Number 1 will be your best of the bunch. Let's see, here's the editorial judging card. And of course, it's a lot more elaborate on the forms. You've had a chance to break into your boxes and look. You'll see it doesn't just say writing. It really kind of gives you a lot of specifics under writing or clarity or mechanics. So, follow along, look at that, but certainly offer your own professional perspective as well. This overall reaction area really is for you to just have a moment where you can say, yeah, I just love this book. While it didn't maybe have the, best writing of all, I just can't, I just absolutely love this story. So that gives you a chance to really let your voice be heard there on that side. And again, the tiebreaker comes in. We do our darndest to make the judging objective, if possible. We recognize that it's really hard to stay objective, but we want to make it as easy as possible for you all to be objective. And, there are a lot of things that come into writing and publishing. So I recognize that you're going to have a reaction to a book. You're going to have some subjective responses to it. But as you're judging, as you're commenting, I'll just ask you to please try to keep your professional goggles on and really focus on the elements of the book in a professional way, whether you agree with the storyline or the subject matter or whatever. This kind of breaks it down in a very general way, and then we got even more specific. And this rating scale we've incorporated into each of these judging forms and guidelines. You'll see this list on there. 10 is perfect, 9 is very good, and so on. Now, I'll just pause here for a moment and say that, people don't love getting 1s and 2s. It may be enough to tell them that their book is significantly below average and not very poor. But I'll leave that to you. If you feel like it's going to create separation with the other books in your category, then by all means use the full scale there. Yes, let me take a breath.
Yeah, thank you. I just acknowledge that the chat has got a lot of really good feedback from people, and we'll open it up for you guys to vocalize that when we go into the full group at the end. I told everybody, Terry, that you would mail them a Word doc of the scorecard.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem. I will.
People type on it, as they go along.
If anyone wants that, let's just have you send me an email. I'll send you one right away. I already send you all too many communications, I feel like, but yes, feel free to request one. I will have that ready for you and send it off. I think I created those last year. It was a great idea. And so I did, I've got these things laid out in some desktop publishing program, but I did convert them to Word last year so that they were usable. So yes, you got it.
And so if you want the Word, and categories that have different scorecards too, by the way, so we can't just shoot this one card out to everybody because they're different, each category. And then the other, there was another thing in here. Oh, can you talk about, so your scorecards come in paper that you write on and you score as you go, and then we send you the online form in February or January?
January, yeah. Mm-hmm.
In January, so that you can enter your notes into the online judging form. And I think you're going to talk about the verbatim stuff in the next section for about a couple minutes. But there was just a question about why can't we get this online judging form now instead of January? Why do we have to wait?
Okay. Well, so I'll answer that in a couple parts here. So yes, we have an online judging system through SurveyMonkey, and you expert judges know that already, but also I'm saying that for the newer folks. These paper forms are worksheets for you to just kind of like dig into, scribble notes, and then transfer over to the online system and polish them as you get into that. We typically wait until the end. We typically wait until after we get the second set of entries. So you're going to be receiving two sets of entries. One here in October, the first shipment was sent. The second shipment is sent at the end of December. We break the shipments up like this to give you more time with the books. Our deadline for entries is December the 15th, and not too long ago, we only did one shipment of books, and we sent you all of your books at the end of December, beginning of January, and only gave you until the end of February to finalize your judging. So we, several years ago, decided that wasn't very nice of us, and we split the shipment into two, to give you more time with these early entries of the books being published in the first half of the year. Now, we haven't sent out the judging forms, the online judging forms with the first half, because I can't really rely on the SurveyMonkey system to perform properly if I'm adding new books into it all the time with the second set of entries. So I think it's a great idea for future years for me to try to figure out how to send out maybe two SurveyMonkey links, one for the first half, one for the second half. But I think the SurveyMonkey would be too unstable if I were to add, say, 20 new books into it during the second half. I hope that makes sense and that covers it. It's not maybe not the answer you're looking for, but I think next year maybe what we'll do is try to figure out a way to give you an online option first half and second half.
Okay, it's a good thing to think about for next year for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So very good. Any other things coming to the top of the? Okay. Well, keep your texts going. Jump in. We're going to have that opportunity to really kind of dig into whatever you want in about 5 or 10 minutes. So, feel free to keep lobbing things into the chat, or we'll bring you up and open up your line in just a minute. Here we are moving forward. This was actually, moving backwards. This was us last year. That was our host for our virtual awards. That was Shelter in Place Ben there at the bottom. This is your IBPA staff presenting the different categories. We were all in the comforts of our own space at the time, and we had a lot of fun. So this year we plan another virtual event. So we're going to dive into the written feedback a bit here, and I'm going to really kind of pause to say this is by far the most important part of your job and process, in my opinion. This written feedback and these judging forms are shared with the participants, and your written feedback is shared verbatim. So I mentioned we're going to get about between 4,500 and 5,000 of these forms coming in, and it's just too overwhelming for our staff to go in and edit all of those forms before we share them with the participants. So not only are we asking you to provide your professional criticisms, your constructive criticisms for their books? I mean, tell them what they're doing right. Tell them where they can improve. This isn't a time for you to bash. While it is tempting sometimes, let's try to stay as professional as possible, as constructive as possible, and provide details. Let them know why you gave them a 3 or a 5 or a 9 or a 10. Let them know where they're doing great. How you reacted. So here's some tips. Let's hold your written feedback to the same standard you're holding the work you're judging. Again, we're sending these forms back verbatim. We will scan them, but we can't read them, word for word. Here's some other tips. Write and complete sentences. Provide examples. Review your comments for clarity. You just don't want to stream of consciousness of with a bunch of incomplete sentences and your notes. That's not what we're hoping to get here. So and then check for typos and punctuation. And just remember, you're judging. You're not reviewing the book. You're judging it. So you're all professionals in this industry, and you've got these professional guidelines that we're trying to follow. Certainly provide your own professional perspective and personal perspective, because you're all working in the world of books every day. So our end goal is to have our publishers create better books in the future. It's also to recognize the work they're doing. So keep that in mind as you're judging. Here's another super happy guy that we love. This is Zach. He won the silver. So we award 2 silvers and 1 gold in every category each year. And Zach is just uber cool, and I love him. So he gets two spots here. So we're going to talk, let's see, just quickly about the categories. I mentioned this a little while ago. We have 56 total categories. We do our darndest to cover every category possible without diluting the integrity of the awards program. We can't give everybody an award. It doesn't make sense. I mean, there are some awards programs out there that are just a big money-making machine, and they don't care, and they've got 200 different categories, and everybody becomes a winner. But that's not what we're trying to accomplish here. We are constantly trying to present the right number of categories and the right category types. So I'm always open to suggestions where you see holes, or you may see, maybe we need to split a category. At one point we had business and career together, and then we split it up, and then we brought it back together again. So, sometimes the industry sort of dictates different categories. A few years ago, we brought graphic novels back into the mix, audiobooks. Last year we did horror, and we resplit our cover design category into fiction and nonfiction because they're just so different. Usually takes a few years for these categories to catch on, but we're hopeful that these are helping to make this program even stronger. Here again are some fun things happening. I don't want to just put nothing but information out at you, but here's some happy people, gold winners. That's George down there on the bottom and his printer. They were there celebrating together for George's win on his book. And then on the right, last year, with our virtual award ceremony, we were able to introduce a social media element, and we had people tweeting and posting, and it was so fun. And we were giving awards each night for the best tweets, and we really came up with some fun ones. So there again is our host, Shelter-in-Place Ben. So he should be with us again this year. Let's just do a quick look at the timeline here. This is something that we take really seriously here. We know you have a gigantic task in getting your judging done, so the least we can do is get to the darn books on time and do our part, whatever that is. So whatever support you need from us, we're here for you. But this is how it all breaks down. We covered a bit of this, but we've assigned all the categories. All 168 judges have been assigned. You know, if you are the design judge in poetry right now or whatever you may be. We had our first shipment sent on October the 21st. Pretty darn good turnaround, I think, this year. Our first deadline is September 30th, and that is a postmark deadline where our members can submit their books. And we do get a lot of books in here, especially toward the tail end of these deadlines. We live in a deadline-driven world, it feels, and people really lean into them. So anyway, first shipment's out. You all should have it. I've heard back from most of you that you have received yours. There are a few categories, I think 4 or 5, that did not get enough entries in this first go-round. Not to worry. I think you will get your entries in the second round. We do our darndest to try to get an even split of books coming, half in the first, half in the second, but the reality is, the second half sometimes it could be a little heavier than the first. Hopefully not for some of those larger categories like the autobiography memoir, mystery thriller, historical fiction. There's some categories that really get a lot of books, and hopefully we've got, that was a true 50-50 split, but we do allow everyone to enter any book published in 2020. They have until December the 15th to send that to us. So our second and final shipment will be sent to you by, leave this office no later than January the 5th. And you will have until the end of February to complete your judging. We'll get you those SurveyMonkey links toward the end of December, beginning of January there. After this call, I am going to tinker a little bit to see if there is some way that I can figure out to get you some links sooner, but I'm not promising anything here. But I'll do my darndest. And then we don't have a big, we don't have a big window between the time that your scores are due and when we announce the finalists. There's a lot of tabulating that needs to be done, a lot of cross-checking, lots of odds and ends, but we've actually built in a little extra time this year because our award ceremony is going to be virtual again this year. Typically, our award ceremony is the first weekend in April in whatever city our publishing university is taking place. So there's a lot that needs to be done between February 28th and that ceremony, including getting awards engraved and getting the finalists notified and websites built. There's all kinds of things that happen. So I appreciate you respecting that February 28th deadline. It should give you enough time, but if for some reason it doesn't, feel free to reach out and let me know how I can help support you. That April 2021 live awards ceremony is, as I was saying last night, late April, and Angela reminded me that it's really late April because it's going to be May this year. So it's going to be in May sometime. So super late April, we will have a live award ceremony, and I hope you all can join us. It's a lot of fun. We give you a chance to kind of take a bow out there for all this incredible work you're doing. Taking a breath, Angela, is there anything you want to jump in on right now? I just have a few more things to cover, and then we can open things up.
No, I think if we jump through these pretty quickly and can open it up, that would be the best. That would be the best.
Okay, let's do it. More happy people. Let's look at these odds and ends. And this is really one big odds and end, in my opinion. You all have a gigantic task ahead of you in doing this judging. I would recommend you get started sooner rather than later. Don't leave a box of books sitting in the back thinking you can, spend 2 hours one afternoon and scribble your notes and circle the circles. If you have 30 books to do and you have 20 weeks between now and then, I'd say, plan out doing a couple books a week or something like that. Judges fatigue is a real thing. Watch out for it. We want you to be able to, give every entrant the same energy and the same attention and your same professional expertise. So do your darndest to give yourself that space to make it happen. This is a big job, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate all of you, and we couldn't do it without you all. It takes more than a village here. It's a gigantic undertaking, and you do have a big job. So thank you for participating. If there's any questions you have as you're going through it, reach out to me, let me know. But please, please, please do your best to give every book the same attention as you do the others. Here's our key question. Have you been able to give each entrant a similar amount of consideration and attention? Just ask yourself that as you're judging. If not, put the books down, maybe jump at it again tomorrow or next week or whatever the case is. But this February 28th date will get here before you know it. Yes, it will. But we're here to help support you, whatever it is you may need. Let's see. And when you're done judging, what do we do with the books? That's a great question. We always get it. Donate them, give them away as gifts, share them with people, and put them in your libraries. If you're a librarian, put them in your public library, your school library, or put them in your personal library. But what we don't want you to do is sell them on Amazon, or you're welcome to give them away, donate them. I do understand sometimes Friends of the Libraries programs will sell these books. Not ideal, but I get it. It's supporting a good cause. We're okay if that's where they wind up, because we do know when you donate a book to a library, it doesn't always wind up in their shelves. But do your darndest to keep these out of secondhand retailers' hands. It just reflects badly on everybody involved. It's just as if you were reviewing, if you're a professional book reviewer, that's really not where the way you want to go with it. So this is where I pause, take a breath, and say one gigantic thank you again to all of you for helping. And let's open it up to anybody that may want to. I mean, if there are questions waiting, Angela, I'll let you kind of drive the bus here. Or if any experienced judges want to offer some of their own personal feedback and help teach this thing, I'm going to step back and let you all do it now.
Terry's like, I take a nap now. Thank you, Terry. So most of you got your shipment of books. Like, there are some of you that didn't get a shipment in the first shipment because we didn't have enough books to ship out there, or there are various reasons why Terry doesn't ship a category. So can you confirm graphic novels for me, Terry? Did that not go?
That's correct. Graphic novels, we did not get enough entries in the first round. That's right.
Well, there you go for a question in the chat. I'm going to put you guys in the Brady Bunch mode. If you want to go there, you can mess with the screen view. You might just have a big head. That big head might be mine. I don't think you want that, so you can change it. And I'll put you all up so we can chat now. There were some questions about books in the wrong category, Terry Ryder. So I realize not all of you are watching chat as we go through. So let's talk about what happens if you get a book that's in the wrong category from your perspective.
Okay, great question. Yes.
I'm going to let the judges answer because they all have really good stuff. But I'll just acknowledge before you answer that we don't assign the categories in the office. The judges decide which categories they think this book is good for. So that's one thing to know. And then I'll just open it up. So what do you guys do if you get a book that's in the wrong category?
We've stumped the panel.
April O'Leary, how are you?
Hi.
Great, April.
Great for all of the information, and Angela. Last year I did get a book that was not relevant to the category, and I was told, if I remember correctly, that the person who submits their book chooses the category, and so at the very beginning, they have checkbox to say this doesn't belong in this category. And so if we said, no, it doesn't belong in that category, then we'd still judge it with the criteria, but they wouldn't actually put it as an award winner in the category because it was in the wrong category. But they get a legitimate judging criteria and critique back. It's just that they were in the wrong category. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that is accurate. Thank you. So there's a question on every judging form that says appropriateness for category, and you'll judge that on the low side or check the box that says no or whatever it is there. That basically takes it out of contention from being a finalist. But we do still want you to completely judge the book just as if you would judge any of the other books in the category. Some of these people entering are, they're kind of testing the waters a little bit. You know, they may not know if the book fits better in body, mind, spirit, or self-help, or inspirational, or psychology, or something. I don't know. So yeah, some people, many of our entrants do put their book, they do enter in multiple categories. So thanks, April, for jumping forward. You were the brave one.
We're used to awkward silence on big Zoom chats.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention too. I'm Katie.
Hi, Katie. Hey, Katie.
I've had that happen before as well, and I forget that the authors or whoever's submitting the book could be submitting in multiple categories. But one thing I'm assuming they don't know is that, for instance, it was either last year or the year before. I had Body, Mind, and Spirit, and I got a lot of books that were very body, mind, and spirit. But I happened to get one that to me was a biography or a memoir, and it just happened to be that the author kind of focused on that as like how it got him through his life and how it helped him. But what he didn't know was that of the 40 other books I bought, it really stood out as not fitting in. So, and I thought it was a great book. I really liked it, but I don't think this is the right category. So, I mean, that's just to say that when they submit something, they don't see all the other books to know that it's really going to stand out or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's it. That is a good point. Yeah, and as a judge, let them know in your comments. I judge this down because it really isn't appropriate for this category. It would fit better in the autobiography category or the health wellness category or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, and we're okay with that because we think getting the right subject, if you want to say BISAC or if you want to just say whatever you call it, but getting the right subject is an important part of publishing. Understanding what other books are in your category when you put a book into the marketplace is an important part of the business of book publishing. So it's harsh to say when you check that box, you've taken it out of contention for winning an award, but it is really important that they get that right when they're putting their book on the shelf next to the other books.
Building on what Katie just said, speaking of body, mind, and spirit, I received this tome, 700 pages in the poetry category. I'm judging the design of it. This is intense.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine. A poetry book is, in my opinion, supposed to be a little jewel box of not a limited number, though it could be, but a modest offering. This is outrageous. I can certainly judge the design, which is poor in actual fact and should be put in the 1 or 2 category places, but this is not the right place for this book, my opinion.
Yeah, you'll have the opportunity to mention that and to also score accordingly. I agree.
If you because the last time I had a book that was almost 700 pages, and I think it's fair to say in your comments, this needs to be edited back. As a librarian, I know that I can't take a patron to a shelf and say, oh, there's a 700-page book that somebody wrote that is about body, mind, and spirit, when there are other books that are 200 pages or 150. Like, they're not going to do that unless you're Homer or Shakespeare. Or, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
I kind of feel like if you have 700 pages, you got to have chops to back it up. And sometimes they really need to rethink what they're putting out there because people are not going to take it home.
Yeah.
It's just intimidating.
Yeah, and it's up to you to provide a constructive way of delivering that message to the entrant there. And don't spend too much time with that book. I mean, you can, especially on the design side, you can, it is almost offensive, but yeah, I would just say, do your darndest to stay.
Well, I don't mean to be offensive, of course. The fact that there's something there is laudable to start. Reading reading the words of the author is from says he was from the National Security Administration, and he's writing poetry to the tune of 700 pages. I think there's a disconnect in understanding of what this means here.
Yeah, well, that publisher certainly has a lot to learn. You're going to see we have publishers at every stage of the game, and this, technology has made it so that just about anybody can get published nowadays. And these people, they do need to hear, whether they're at the entry level or that they've been in the business a long time, and you need to hear what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. So, yes.
So I'll ask for other feedback too, but there's something there that really triggered for me, which is feeding on Katie. There's a way to talk to them about what's professional in a category. That I think is the line, you want to be on that side of the line. You want to be able to say poetry books come in at 200 pages. That's standard. That's what this category looks like. They just haven't quite studied that yet, so I feel for that person so much. He's got so much to say. He has 700 words of things to say, and I don't want to discourage his voice in any way. I just want to give him information about how a particular publishing category works, so that he can break that up into 5 volumes,
Exactly. That's a perfect idea, is to have it an ongoing, maybe even a serialized thing. If he's got a bunch of followers, it could be an advice column all in itself, this body, mind, and spirit that he's written about. So who knows? Maybe there's some good silver lining to that.
Always a silver lining somewhere in there. Thank you, Sarah. What else have you guys seen?
Hi, this is Melissa, and I was a first-time judge last year. I just wanted to say to all the first-time judges, I was terrified last year because I had no idea what to expect. But Terry really kind of coached me through, and it was a new category, so it was audio last year, so that was also kind of a challenge for me. But Terry, thank you for all your help. And, one of the things I think that he said to me that kind of resonated the most that I'm really following is that try to put comments in every single one of the categories that we're asking for information on, because whether it's, positive, negative, any feedback at all is, what these folks are looking for. So, for instance, one of the books, or the audio books last year was a book where it had photographs, and then there was a 2-line or a haiku about the photographs. So, the haiku, what they were reading sounded really interesting, but there was not a photo to match it to. So, it was a little challenging trying to come up with how to word that and not say, what sense does it make to then put an audio book to something that's visual? But, but it definitely got me thinking about, creative ways to say that, not being offensive, but, getting the point across. So just try to make sure that you put something in every single category. So thank you, Terry, for that last year. You really helped me get through that.
Thank you, Melissa. And I'm glad you're back. We didn't scare you away, so that's a plus. Thank you.
There's no guarantee that we won't scare you away, first-time judges. Welcome. What else are you guys looking at here?
What other words of wisdom do we have? I think last night some of the judges were giving tips on how they collect their notes offline in Word and polish them before they paste them over into SurveyMonkey. So any of those types of little tips and tricks are hugely appreciated by the other judges, I'm sure.
Well, losing some information one year really taught me that it's good. It's better for my sanity to have everything together where I can work on it sort of offline away from the system, and then sit down and dedicate my time not to commenting, but to transferring the information over. That way it keeps commenting separate from just the data transfer for me, and it makes me feel secure about the information that I have and the time I've spent. So that really works for me, and it seems to work with your system as well, because I've had really good luck in doing that.
Great suggestion.
And doing that transfer, getting it together, and it just made everything easier for me.
Thanks, yeah.
I also think that one thing that I discovered in the first couple of years was that I would get so caught up in sort of big picture detail. Like, I love this book, didn't love this book. But then when I would get to the end, I had a really hard time judging really, like, I felt like I either had either end of the spectrum, like, or 9s. And I found that I have to leave myself a couple of weeks at the very end to read over my reviews and really think it through, because you get to the end and it's not just what you've written, it's like all the other little details that you need to make sure you've covered or make sure you've thought about. So I agree with what you said. I've started, I take notes on my, like, can y'all see my sheet? Yeah. So I have my sheet, and then on the back I have all my notes, because, I mean, it's what, November 5th. So, like, by the 6 months from now when we're filling out the stuff, I'm not going to remember this stuff. But I want to go through it in January so that I'm not sitting down the day of being like, oh my gosh, I don't remember half of these books. And so I know it's like easy from this end of the spectrum to say start early, but oh my gosh, start early and document it.
Especially with your category, Katie. Katie's taken on the mystery and thriller category this year, which is a giant one. So thank you for that, by the way. Yes, you're 7. That's a few books a week, I think, if I do my
I'm
math.
at 4.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. But I've got a really good one right now, so it's fine.
Oh, good. That's great.
Maybe a mixed bag. Terry, do you know specifically on the design judges if they have to review the copyright page? Is that a design job?
You don't need to, in terms of it just being a current copyright. It's there is a.
In terms of having the right elements, like the Library of Congress and the IBPA, correctly.
I should know this. I should know this. Let me get back to you, because I'll open one of the design forms and look. I don't know how specific we get on the copyright page. Yeah. About asking about the Library of Congress. Sorry, Ray. You one of the judges may know better than I.
It is on the design judge form.
Okay.
Commenting on that copyright, it falls under the general and essentials, but it isn't real specific. Copyright pages are a big thing to me, and so I would have significant comment about how that is organized and where the page numbers are and how if they're chapters, etc. So I would yes, I would find that to be an essential and expanded thing that a judge should be addressing in the comments.
Good. Standards matter. Can I open a can of worms? We don't, whatever. We'll see how it goes. Just a little bit of conversation on what happens if you get a book in your category that you just don't agree with in terms of content. direction of thought, if you will. So Summer asked a question about how can a person be positive when the author uses cruel nicknames for his characters. And there's some great advice flowing through chat, but that just reminds me that sometimes, as in life, you get approached with something that doesn't really follow your line of thinking. So I'd love a little, if you guys are comfortable, a little conversation about that, if you would. Have you guys experienced that? How did you deal with that? Doesn't matter.
This is Richard.
Hey, Richard.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You just judge the book.
So has that happened? Has it happened for you? And how did you just judge? Like, how would you phrase or some critique? Doesn't, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but since you're unmuted.
Okay. I'm a design judge now, but I used to be an editorial judge. I've been judging for like 20 years, maybe more. I started in 1999 with a few years off. But even when I was an editorial judge, it doesn't matter. I judged religion one year, so you can imagine I couldn't agree with every book in the religion category.
Of course, yeah.
So we follow the score sheet and be as objective as possible and give it the best objective score you can.
That's fantastic advice, Richard. Thank you.
The book one year, and it was nonfiction, so I feel like it might be easier if you have nonfiction. I felt like the author was making broad, sweeping statements without really any. Basically, I said, "Do you have a source for this? Do you have footnotes?" I commented that it would make the book stronger if the author's opinions came with, statistics or some sort of authority on the subject other than just, your own opinion, because after a while it just read a little bit like a diatribe, but I didn't say that. But so, if you can look at a book and say, all right, what would make this better? That's really what you're looking for. Is not, I don't agree with this, but what would make this a stronger book for publication?
Right. And a few years ago, I was judging humor. And I'd get these books and I'd think, this isn't funny at all. But I judge it objectively. And then other books I thought were pretty funny. But I wasn't judging them on how funny I thought they were. I was judging them on the score sheet. That wasn't one of the categories. Do you find this book funny? No. So, okay. I've said enough on that.
We do give you a little wiggle room in your own personal reaction. There is a question about your personal reaction to the book, but anyway, yeah, I don't want to go too far off.
Right.
Well, this is Summer. Do I have to make comments about that book? Like, I've been doing the score sheet as I go along, but do I have to make comments too with it?
We really would appreciate you making comments. I hear what you're saying. Like, if you don't agree with the subject matter, you don't need to comment on the subject matter itself. But if you can find something constructive to say, that really helps. Or if you can constructively explain why you've scored a book a certain way, that helps us. It helps the publishers to understand what's going on and to improve their future books.
Okay, I plan on going back to it eventually.
Okay.
Before I'm in the process.
You can always bounce your comments off me just to make sure you're on the right track. I've got samples of exceptional judges' comments from previous years. If you want to see some, feel free to reach out to me. I can share some of those.
Okay, thank you.
And we're going to continue to just leave the space open, but I sadly have to bow out because I have this 9 o'clock thing that I cannot miss. So thank you all. I can't thank you enough. Angela's going to stick around here and just keep things open. So love you all for what you're doing, and I will be in touch for sure.
Hi, Terry.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm still here. I don't know if that's interesting or helpful to you guys, but here I am in case there's more. that you all want to talk about, we can stay for another 10 minutes or so. But if y'all have to go, it's 9. The workday is starting on the West Coast. It's lunchtime on the East Coast. Totally understand. But if anybody wants to share something else, what are you guys thinking about?
Well, I was thinking about how talking about audience is so important. If you don't agree with what they're saying, try and ask them to think about who they're directing their book at.
Audience, yep, that's another standard too. I mean, there are audience codes that people have to pick, so it's definitely a standard. Thank you for embracing that question. I appreciate it. Every year we're challenged with that, I think. So it's good to give it a little space. Everyone's gone now. They won't know. You guys will know, though. Last night we agreed that we would open up another one of these. We'll just say it's like a roundtable in about 2 months to check in, like right after the first judging series kind of ends and or you get your second shipment right before that. So you guys can come in and talk again amongst yourselves about how it's been going, and share some feedback on the book. So look for that. We'll set up another one of these. We'll do it a couple times this season. We've never done that, but I think I love hearing from you guys, what you're doing.
Yeah, it's nice. It lets us share it.
Yeah, you're not alone. Look at
share the experience.
All right, cool. Anything further from you guys? Thank you, New-Time Judges. Thank you, veterans.
And Cliff, I sent you a private query about dating. If you would be so kind as to reply at your leisure.
That was Sarah sent me a private message?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I think I see it. Got it.
Great, thank you. Adios all.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you.
Bye-bye, Angela.